crazy milestone we just hit. Finally got the engine mounted. Man, these things are huge. I'm starting off this year with the hardest and most challenging build yet. This is a full-size trophy truck I'm building in my tiny one-car garage. I'm not gonna lie, I have like $8,000 in it. I'm looking to get it done for under $30,000 though. And if you look up the cost of these, race ready is about $500,000 for a legit one. Bottom end is $100,000. So right off the bat, it's an impossible challenge. Where am I gonna get 30 bands from? I don't know, but that's where I need your help. Guys, I wanna expand my channel and grow my channel, and I can't do it without you guys. So even just leaving likes and comments goes a long way, but more specifically, I'm looking for coaches, mentors, and investors, people that can teach me how to get to the next level. Even if you have like an old build that you want to donate to the channel, something that you've given up on, please ring my line. Maybe you have a line of products you want to sponsor, like shocks. Yeah, let's go ahead and get into this build. I just needed to get that off my chest. So thank you for watching. 2026 is going to be crazy. Picked up this Ford 9-inch housing. I've never done 4-link before, so I have no clue what I'm doing, but it shouldn't be too hard. So Iron Rock Off-Road was kind enough to send me this universal truss kit. You can basically trim it up to any style rear housing you have, and then mount your 4-link brackets up top to it or at the bottom. So huge shout out to Iron Rock Off-Road. They carry many off-road products, especially for Jeeps. Definitely check their page out. And here I'm just trimming the back half so it can fit the pumpkin. I think that's what it's called. And then we're gonna start working on mounting up the brackets. These are the lower trailing arm mounts I'm welding on. It's pretty beefy heim joints, and I am spacing them 180 degrees out from the top ones. Before I weld these top ones on, I'm gonna go ahead and install this in the back just so I can visualize everything. And FYI, I'm not plugging all this into a 4-link calculator because YOLO. So last episode, if you guys didn't see, I actually redid the whole chassis and made it out of 2-inch tubing, which is bigger than the 1 3/4 I was using before. And so I read the SCORE rulebook, and the SCORE rulebook said that the entire cockpit has to be constructed at a 2-inch 120 wall DOM at the bare minimum. So that's what I'm doing, adding all the right tubing in the right places, and kind of just referencing pictures I've seen online to get the desired look I'm going for. Over the past 7 years of running this YouTube channel, there's been a lot of financial stress for me, especially when I ran into the house. And maybe you find yourself in the same situation. You're just financially burdened, lots of stress, can't pay off your loans. Well, PDS Debt is here to help. They've got personalized solutions for your debt, whether it's medical debt, credit card, personal loans, or collections. There's no minimum credit score required. They're here to save you money, to put it back in your pockets where it belongs, and to help you pay off your debts fast. PDS Debt is A+ rated by Better Business Bureau, has thousands of 5-star reviews, and has helped hundreds of thousands of people get out of their debt. So now for any future financial stress to come, I know that PDS Debt has my back. So don't wait until debt forces you off the road. You're 30 seconds away from becoming debt-free. Get your free assessment now and find your best option at pdsdebt.com/Vasily. That's pdsdebt.com/Vasily. It'll be the first link in the description. Check it out. Alright, so we have our spindles here, which use F-150 hubs. We got to go ahead and finish them. So I ordered 2 pieces of this 1/4-inch thick pipe DOM tube, and so this is going to get welded right there to the spindle to add a lot of strength in this direction. And then that also gives us a place to mount our heim joint down here. we got the spindle inside the wheel, and what I'm doing is bending it or breaking it to get the kingpin angle right. So the line from this heim joint to this one should come out right in the middle of this tire. And we also got some clearance issues, so I've got to add some more bend here and then add a bend here to kick this back out straight. Alright, so now that we got our cardboard template cut out with the right kingpin angle, we're going to go ahead and upload this file to Send Cut Send, and then we should have a steel part in a matter of a couple days. So just like that, we got our Send Cut Send plates in, so we could start boxing these up. You guys see all this front end, right? Well, it's all got to go. I decided I'm going to replace all this 1 3/4 inch tubing with 2-inch tubing because it's just more aesthetically appealing. It's stronger, looks better, and we got to make some tweaks to the design. I don't really like how I did it. We're going to widen up the front. You'll see. Now this is the front bulkhead I'm working on. It's the most narrow part in the front of the frame, which holds the lower control arms. And it's narrow because you want as much suspension travel as possible, but the con is you get less strength in your front end. So you got to add even more metal to beef it up. So I raked the front bulkhead up, or tilted it up about 5 degrees to kind of ease with head-on impacts into rocks and boulders and stuff like that. It's not required, and I couldn't find a definitive spec of how much to rake it by, but we raked it 5 degrees. And so these are our upper control arm mounts. They're going to be 12 inches apart and 12 inches high. That's kind of what I did my calculations to. And then from here, it's just connecting the front of the buggy to this bulkhead, which shouldn't be too hard. So these tubes are for the upper A-arms. Those are for the lower ones. I left them long on purpose. They're going to be trimmed back. There's going to be a steel bulkhead here. And then once I weld these upper tubes in, I can go ahead and make sure these are perfectly aligned by using ratchet straps and kind of moving them how I want. And now we're going to work on these 2 top bars. I don't have a 2-inch die, so I'm not going to bend these. But even if I did have a 2-inch die, I prefer to leave them like that because I think it just looks... It looks trophy truck-like-esque. So guys, check this out. I'm going standalone for this trophy truck. I reached out to Holly and they agreed to sponsor a unit for this build. So super huge shout out to Holly. This is the digital dash. And also a little bit off topic, I went out and I bought a Max ECU Sport off Facebook Marketplace. This is close to $5,000 in standalone ECUs and harnesses. And I basically got it half off. We got our Terminator and our standalone harness, which from what I heard, what I've been reading, is super easy to hook up. But we are missing quite a bit of parts, so we're not able to start it. In this episode, I would love to start it in this episode. Like I said, I'm missing a lot of parts. So huge shout out to Holly. If you're looking for a standalone system, make sure to check out the link. So AlloyWorks was kind enough to supply the radiator for this build. I mean, this thing is pretty massive. Quad core, dual fans, and shroud. This is like the biggest radiator they have to offer. It's good for like C10s and Chevy swaps and whatnot. AlloyWorks has some of the best priced radiators I've seen, and they carry a huge selection of different radiators, intercooler pipes, and different automotive accessories and whatnot. So they are giving you guys a custom discount code right here. Check out the link in the description. And man, this is a very nice quality radiator. What I've seen pictures online, we may need to double it up and get a second one of these for redundancy. I'm not sure yet. This definitely will fit in our chassis, but I might have to double it up just to have that extra redundancy. Although I'm not sure. I don't know. We'll have to see, because we are running an iron block also, and we're gonna have power adders, either a supercharger or turbo, so that iron block is gonna get hot. It's gonna be ran like at 7,000 RPM constantly. So yeah, definitely we need all the cooling we can get. So the next thing on the list is our lower control arms, and you guessed it, these are all from Said Cut Send. So these are mild steel. The standard for trophy trucks is chromoly, but chromoly is way too expensive and out of my budget, so I'm just relying on a whole lot of internal ribbing to keep these A-arms straight. Now in hindsight, I am kind of regretting, I think I made them a little bit too skinny and too thin, and I should have also made them high clearance, but that's way more work than it's worth. So these will have to do for now. And I know some of you guys are going to get on to me for using Heim joints and not uniballs, which uniballs is the standard for desert racing and for trophy trucks, but we're just going to have to see as time goes on. But all in all, I think I'm really happy with how the A-arm turned out, and it definitely should work for our first test drive. And if we need to, we'll add more steel to them and beef them up. So this is the second one. This one is all fresh. And yeah, if I were to do this again, I'd probably make him 3 inches wide and not 2 inches wide like they are right now. It just, they just look really skinny. But overall, yeah, I'm pretty happy. I think they're going to be strong enough, although there's really no telling. Man, these things are huge. Huge. I hope they're going to be strong enough. I know some of you guys are not going to like the Heim joints and say I should have went with uniballs. And I probably will upgrade to uniballs later down the line if the Heim joints ever fail, but I don't know if that's going to happen. So yeah, we've got both of them finished. We're going to go ahead and install them on the truck. And yeah, super excited. Gotta make the front end strong enough to where I could pick it up by the front end and roll it. This is all kind of just guesswork. I'm just looking at pictures. So we got this tube here. We have an X we're working on. From the strut tower will be right there, so boom. And then these bars will go into the X, the engine mounts will go into the X, the top. So that X is going to be a very strong point in the frame. Alright, so my dad helped me get the motor in there in its place where it should be, and I've got this extremely fortified section of the frame right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tubes, and then there's going to be a 7th one and an 8th one, so I got to make this frame as strong as possible. So what I'm working on now is this down tube right here, and I just needed to get the engine in place to see how much room I have to work with right there, and then we could go ahead and just solid mount the engine. So all the pictures of trophy trucks I've seen online, the engine is completely solid mounted. So that's what I'm going to do, just solid mount it. And then also I've got to go ahead and also I've got to install our Turbo 400, kind of figure out and visualize what angle it needs to be in. So overall, super happy with the progress on this truck. So we got the trans and the motor bolted in. I'm going to work on the final alignment and then we can start welding the engine in. It is kind of a bummer that the shaft is going to hit, you know, it's not going to allow the U-joint to pass through, so we're going to have to cut it in the middle and probably redirect it somehow, some way. I'm not really sure, but it's not a big deal. I just wish I would have had this bar a little bit higher, this joint, but oh well, that's not something you can really see unless you're doing it in CAD. So I am super happy though. We're going to go ahead and measure everything and then we can go ahead and get the engine in. So that's basically how I'm lining up the motor. So you can see it's still got to go a tiny bit that way. So we got that engine dead level in there, and then we actually tilted it down about 3 degrees. So that's going to help with the driveline angle, as the drive shaft is not going to be that long. So it'll help. We can start welding the engine in. crazy milestone we just hit. Finally got the engine mounted. All that's left is just a trans mount. So super excited. I got the engine literally as low as it'll go. The oil pan is level with the tubes. So yeah, super excited. We're gonna go ahead and do the trans mount and probably finalize this episode. And yeah. So now that the front end and engine is mounted, I can finally take this thing off the 3D printed fixtures. Crazy huge milestone. We're gonna go ahead and lift this thing up. Oh man, this thing is not light. I brought it out here and it looks a lot smaller than in here, but it's still pretty big. So I'm excited. I really wanted to get it full roller and start it, but I was like, this is such a hard goal. It's impossible to do that in 3 weeks. So next video, I hope it's gonna be running in on 4 wheels. I'm gonna try. So huge thanks to our sponsors, Rock Tricks for these beautiful bead locks, and then Rough Country for these mud terrain tires. Man, they look amazing. They really knocked it out of the park. And then if you come over here, Sen is like a huge sponsor and help for this build. All these A-arms, these spindles, all the suspension tabs, I'm gonna use them for every single tab on this build. So huge shout out to Sen. Oh, and Rough Country also is sponsoring all the lights on this build. So AlloyWorks sponsoring the radiator, and then Jegs sponsored the seats. There's only one seat in there, and they also sent me a whole bunch of engine goodies for the engine. So huge shout out to Jegs for that. And let's see, I think I'm missing a couple sponsors. HTP Welders. Oh yeah, and I forgot, huge shout out to Brunt for being my work boot sponsor. No Heim joint sponsors, unfortunately. Shock sponsors, where are you at? Please hit my line. I need some shock sponsors. And then last but not least, Fisher Steel for giving me a good deal. This is 2-inch DOM. If you do the math, I need over 500 feet of tubing. Usually goes for around $13 a foot. So that's $6,000 plus just in tubing alone. I think this is about 250 feet. So about $4,000 in tubing, I think. Pretty crazy. Yes, it adds up quick. Jegs is going to be helping me with my drive line with the Turbo 400. With that being said, guys, thank you for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed. If you like this video, check out more here. Just a reminder, Jesus saves. God bless.